Okay, good evening, everyone. First of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Zek Said. I'm gonna show you today, inshallah, why we should teach our new course book, which is Lead the Way. If I were to give a slogan for our course book, it will be building lifelong learners. We want our young learners to learn not just for today, no, but for tomorrow as well. So I'm going to show you how teaching our course book, which is Lead the Way, how it can reinforce, how can it enhance all the four listening skills, all the four skills for English, listening, speaking, reading, and writing. First of all, let me show you some of the objectives of our session today. I'm sorry if, okay. Mr. Ahmed, I'm gonna turn off your mic. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Okay. So let me first of all share with you some of our objectives for today. First of all, we are going to learn about how to build the 21st century skills through integrated skills books, because teaching the 21st century skills is one of the most important issues language teachers should do nowadays. Then we will have an overview of our course book. Okay. Then after this, we are going to go deep down in our book concerning level 1 and level 2. Finally, with some recommendations for the teachers, and inshallah, we're going to finish our session by asking questions if anyone would like to ask questions when we reach that part, inshallah. So first of all, building 21st century skills through integrated skills book. So what are the 21st century skills? So, okay, there's someone wants to join. I'm sorry. Okay. So what are the 21st century skills? They are creativity, collaboration, communication, and also critical thinking. So when we teach integrated learning, and what I mean by integrated learning, that all skills should help each other. Okay, while teaching listening, you have to enhance speaking as well. And while teaching reading, you have to help and enhance teaching writing at the same time. So while teaching integrated learning, we have to deliver deeper understanding across disciplines. We have to train students to follow a certain discipline. Actually, we improve their sense of communication and collaboration by different activities and exercises. And we develop their critical thinking and problem-solving skills, especially by answering the open-ended questions during their reading or listening exercises. Finally, we need to encourage creativity among our students. Okay, so this is an overview of our books. Lead the Way is a 6-level integrated skills. We have 6 books for reading and writing and 6 books for listening and speaking as well. These books, they range from beginners to intermediate. So we can start with a student whose academic level actually may be A1 or even pre-A1 until they reach B1 or B1 plus, okay, across the 6 levels. Our books also aimed at helping students to improve the 4 main skills. And this is the main aim and the main issue for our books: listening, speaking, reading, and writing. How can we do this? We can do this through a variety of skill-based activities, as we are going to show you in a minute. We also have interesting theme-based units. Our book, each book has 10 units. These 10 units, they are of 5 themes. So each theme has 2 units. So we intended to choose some of the most interesting themes to stimulate the students' interest and to motivate them and to provide them with interesting topics for discussion inside the class. Our books are structured to integrate key language skills, as I've mentioned before. These skills are developed in a coherent way across units to promote linguistic competence in young learners. So you will find maybe Unit 2 in Level 1 reading and writing will be integrated with Unit 3 in listening and speaking, and we are going to show you how it works. Also, our curriculum ensures that students are engaged, motivated, and continuously building upon previous knowledge. Now let's start. So just let you know that we're going to start with Level 1 with all the 4 books, and then we are going to move to Level 2. Okay, let's start with Level 1. This is the scope and sequence for listening, speaking Level 1. As you can see, we have 5 different themes. Each theme contains 2 units. As a grade 1 student, as a student who starts to learn the basic language skills, he needs to learn about himself, about his family and friends, about his community, about his town, about the people around him. So that's what we intended to do. So our first theme in Level 1 for listening and speaking is all about me. Unit 1 talks about who am I. It focuses on self-identity, to identify himself, to identify the environment around him. We are going to provide them with activities that help children talk about themselves, their likes, their dislikes, what they like, what they don't like, their personal characteristics, which is so important at that young age. Then we are going to move to the family and friends, the community around that child. We encourage discussions about family members, friends, relationships. So we are doing all this throughout fostering vocabulary related to people close to the student or the young learner. Then we move to all around me, which is our second theme in the first level of the listening and speaking books. We start talking about my town. We introduce some vocabulary and conversations about the student's town or city, including places, directions, and community roles. Of course, in a very simple way that matches their academic level at that age. Then we move to Unit 4, On My Uncle's Farm. It explores rural life, farm animals, farm activities to provide a contrast to urban settings and expanding his knowledge of the world around him. If the student lives in a city, so he needs to know that we have other places as well. So he needs to get to know the rural life, how life works there. Then we have the third theme for our book is out and about. We have learned about myself. I've learned about the community around me. Let's go further than this. So we have out and about. We started with transportation. Transportation covers different means of transport and what they serve. And we try to enhance his understanding of the concept of movement and travel, which is so essential for the students. Then we have Unit 6, the world around us, to broaden the horizon with topics on nature, weather, and environment, to encourage the children to observe and to describe the world around them. Then we move to doing different activities, outdoor activities. We started and to choose some of the most interesting topics and themes for that part, to stimulate shopping experience, teaching children the language of commerce, numbers, and how to make a polite request. Then we move to at work. Why? To introduce different professions and work-related activities and vocabulary, helping the children to understand different jobs people do. And we decided to end and finish our book with something which might be enjoyable for the students, which is about leisure time. Unit 9 is about in my free time, to discuss the hobbies, the leisure activities, allowing children to express what they enjoy doing in their spare time, in their free time. Then we have also, it's summertime. That would be, I guess, exactly just before the summer vacation. So it will be a perfect time to teach such a unit, to focus on the seasonal activities, the holidays, the weather patterns associated with summer, okay? How they have fun during the summer vacation. So that was just giving you in-depth look for our first level listening and speaking. Okay, so now let's start getting inside the book itself. What we are going to do, we are going to show you a sample unit of the listening and speaking, and a sample unit of the reading and writing. And we are going to show you how both units are integrated, how we can teach those two units side by side by integrating all the information in them. So let's first start. This is the cover unit, and whenever you open your book, inshallah, once you, as I was saying, that I'm gonna show you two sample units from the speaking and listening and from the reading and writing to show how they are integrated with each other. Let's start with the listening and speaking. So, okay. Okay, let's start with our cover unit. Unit 3, for example, the title is My Town. Once the student sees the title itself, it gives him a clear indication of the content of the unit itself. So it helps the students to quickly understand what is the focus of the unit and what is the theme he's going to encounter. Then we have a Let's Talk part and Let's Talk section for each unit. That part is designed to engage students in guided conversation, guided, of course, by the teacher himself or herself, related to the unit's theme, encouraging them to use the language of their peer knowledge in a social in context. So the next page, we have a warm-up questions. These questions are used to introduce the topic and get students think about it. So here, for example, we have, we can ask the students, where do you live? Where do you usually go when you are out with your family? So they serve to activate any prior knowledge the students may have about the subject, okay? Then we get to the part of the vocabulary. Here we have two parts to introduce the new vocabulary concerning the listening and speaking. The first exercise helps with pronunciation and auditory memory, which are crucial for language acquisition. At that age, students really need to listen, okay? And the other activity combines listening and visual association to reinforce the vocabulary by matching spoken words to the correct image. So first of all, the student's going to listen to the new vocabulary, which he's going to find later on while listening to the script. Here we have, for example, we have sports field, we have library, we have grocery store, brave, museum, and firefighter. So by teaching those vocabulary words, you will find that the students will be able to comprehend the content of the script later on while listening to the tracks. Okay, once they are familiar with the new vocabulary, once they are familiar with the theme of the unit, let's get into the core of the unit itself. In each unit, we have four different exercises, 4 different practices. Each practice, each exercise focuses on different and various skills. Here, for example, we have listening practice 1. The students are going to listen and choose the best answer. The scripts might be a dialogue or a conversation, might be separate sentences, might be a short paragraph, okay? So students listen to a short dialogue and choose the correct answer from the given options. How this adds to the students' knowledge? It focuses on comprehension and the ability to make choices based on what they hear, which is so important at that young age. Then we move to the next practice, listen and number. Listening and sequencing tasks help students understand the order of events, the order in which he listens to certain information or steps in a process, which is fundamental skill in both listening, not only listening, but also cognitive development. Then we move to the listening practice 3, listen and check. And we may find that kind of exercise in many units because at that young age, we try to get them step by step into learning and into acquiring the skill itself. True and false exercises, they develop the critical listening skills, as students are able to figure out the accuracy of the information presented to them. They are able to define what is true and what is false. Then our last exercise, our last practice concerning the listening, listen and answer the following questions. Here the students is asked to write short answers about a listening passage, a dialogue. We encourage deeper engagement with the content, and it tests also comprehension. So these were the 4 different tasks for listening, and you might find different and various activities throughout the other units. Then we get to the last part of our unit, which is speaking corner. And personally, I do love that part of the session because we allow the students to speak, and which is an achievement itself, by the way. All teachers might find themselves pushed through time. They don't have enough time to let the students speak. They don't have time to let the students express themselves. They don't have time to allow their students to practice the language they learn in the books. I do know that, and it's so exhausting. It's so tiring, actually. So all the time we need to give the students the suitable amount of time to allow them to express themselves. So you will find this, you will be able to do this in the speaking corner. So in that part, let's speak. It's an opportunity for students to practice free speaking, using the language they have learned in a more open-ended, creative way. While doing that speaking corner, you will be able to use the language you have learned throughout the unit and apply this in real life situations. Okay, so that was that part about the speaking and listening and speaking level 1. So now let's move to, after we finish level 1, I'm gonna give you the chance if you wanna ask any questions concerning level 1, then we're going to move to level 2. So now let's move to the reading and writing level 1, which integrates with listening and speaking level 1 as well. Here also, as of course, you know the drill now. So we have 5 themes, each theme for 2 units, okay? So the first theme is all about me, which integrates with the first theme in listening and speaking, right? So here, unit 1, my daily routine. It focuses on the child's everyday life, teaching them vocabulary and sentence structures related to daily activities. Then we move to exploring the child's immediate environment by teaching unit 2, which is my town, to encourage them to describe their town and the places they frequently visit. Just like in level 1 listening and speaking, we move to family and friends. We start with unit 3, which is my family gathering, to introduce language related to family events, helping children to write about family members and special occasions. Then my best friend Adam. We encourage storytelling and descriptive writing. So focus on friendship and the qualities that make someone a good friend. Then we move to the outer world with theme number 3, which is wonderful world. We moved with Emma's favorite season to engage the students in reading and writing about seasons, weather patterns, and personal preferences. So each student will be able to express their own opinions concerning the weather and the seasons. Then we move to a day at the zoo. We need to broaden vocabulary and knowledge about animals, habitats, and conservation through engaging reading passages and writing prompts and writing topics. Then we move to theme 4, which is about adventures, which you will find so amusing and so interesting while teaching. Here we have Unit 7, the Magic Tree House, to stimulate imagination. Can you imagine having a flying tree house? We do this with fantasy stories, guiding students to read for pleasure and write their own creative tales. So with Unit 8, The Secret Garden, we introduce elements of mystery and discovery in literature, encouraging students to write about nature and exploration. And as we did in Level 1, the final theme here, it's Let's Celebrate. We celebrate the New Year, Happy New Year, to discuss the cultural and global celebrations in a very simple way, okay, suitable to the student's age, to read about the New Year traditions and to write about new beginnings. The last unit for the reading and writing Level 1, which is my special birthday party, to focus on personal narratives, allowing children to read birthday stories and write about their own memorable experiences. That was all about the scope and sequence for the reading and writing. Now let's move to be inside the book itself with Unit 2 from the theme All About Me. And here the reading skill is sequence of events. And if you go back with your mind, you will find that the same unit in listening speaking also tackled sequence of events. That's what I'm calling integration. First of all, we'll start with, this is the cover page for the unit. This page provides a central topic that all activities are related to, are relevant to. Then we have the title, which gives you a clear focus on what the unit will be about. And of course, Let's Talk section, as we usually have, it's designed to engage students in guided conversation led by the teacher themselves. Then we move to the key vocabulary. So for the reading and writing book, we have, before each unit, we have key vocabulary and pre-reading vocabulary exercises. Here we have the key vocabulary related to my town. We have hill, bakery, postman, park, swing, slide, library, tower, and so on. So we introduce specific words that students will encounter throughout the unit, so that while reading the text, the student will be able to understand and comprehend the content of the text itself. After we learn the key vocabulary, we have to apply to reinforce vocabulary understanding. So we have a simple exercise, a simple activity to make sure that the students are already familiar with those vocabulary words. Then we move to the text itself. The text provides a context for the vocabulary and theme discussed. And you can see that the new vocabulary are highlighted throughout the text. So I'm going to give you some notes concerning this. As a teacher, you need to focus on the structure of the narrative, start with the beginning, the middle, and the end, and encourage students to practice sequence of events throughout the text. What we need to do, you have to read the story aloud and guide students while reading the story. If you're going to model reading for the students, you have to do this with dramatic intonation to capture students' interest. Pause for comprehension whenever possible. Ask questions after each paragraph to check the student's understanding. Okay? Then we move to the post-reading vocabulary exercises. As we had a vocabulary exercise before the text, we also have post-reading vocabulary exercises based on the new vocabulary throughout the text. Here we have different and various reading activities. Here, for example, we have fill in the blanks to test comprehension and recall of key vocabulary. Also, we have circle each word, the list in the puzzle. It provides kind of fun and engaging way to recognize and remember the vocabulary words. So let's get to the comprehension skills. As we know, we have a lot of reading skills. So to start teaching reading skills to grade 1 students or to students whose academic level is A1 or pre-A1, you have to start in a very simple way. So we provided them with MCQ exercises to assess, to evaluate their understanding of the text with short answers, of course. And then we gave them open-ended questions, as you can see, to stimulate critical thinking and deeper comprehension of the text. Okay. Then we move to the focused reading skill. Throughout the unit, we have different skills throughout the questions, but in every unit, we have a focus on a certain reading skill. Here, our focus reading skill is sequence of events. You can find, identify the main idea, you can find making prediction, you can find, identify the theme, and so on throughout the whole books. Here, we can just ask the students to imagine you're Emily. Here are the pictures from her day. Can you put them in the right order? Here we practice narrative sequencing and understanding the order of events. Then we get to the true and false to evaluate comprehension and encourage attention to details. So now we can shift to the writing corner. And the writing corner must be relevant to the reading corner. And this is what we call before integration. So all the skills should serve each other, as we mentioned before. Here, the writing is about my perfect town. So this is the cover page for the writing corner. We intended to do this to engage the students in creative writing by imagining their ideal town. What skills should we develop here? We develop creativity, acquiring new vocabulary, and sentence structure. So to start our writing corner, we start with some warm-up questions, like what is the name of your town? What kind of weather does it have? What kinds of things can people do there? So to stimulate the students thinking about towns and communities and to make it relevant to their own life. Then we try also to allow them to practice more about sentence structure and more about the new vocabulary. We gave them to unscramble the following words to reinforce the vocabulary related to town features, to increase their knowledge about sentence structure, which is so essential and crucial at that age. Then we move to making a summary. Of course, we're not going to ask a student in grade 1 or if we are teaching the first level, we are not going to ask them to write a whole paragraph. They will not be able to do this. So what should be able to do? We should be able to give them a different writing skills. Later on, we are going to develop those writing skills into full sentences, and those full sentences into paragraphs. And those paragraphs, until we get to level 4 and 5, we are going to change those paragraphs into a whole essay. So we practice using context clue to reinforce the use of the vocabulary in complete thoughts. So here we have fill in the blanks to complete the paragraph about my perfect town using the words in the box. We give them some words to be able to fill in the blanks depending on those vocabulary. Then they are going to complete following sentences about their perfect town, to encourage the students to think about what makes the town perfect for them. And by the end of the units, it's drawing time. And why should we have put drawing time? Why should we have put this section at the end of the unit? To integrate art with writing, to allow expressions of ideas visually. We need the students to visualize their understanding of his perfect town. And then after drawing, they should be able to label each part, such as houses, schools, parks, to connect words with images. So that was all about level 1. Now, if we have any questions concerning level 1, we can do this. Okay, so Do we have any questions concerning level 1 so far? You can type in the chat, and if you're not able to speak, we can type in the chat if we have any questions. Okay, we can move to level 2. In case we have no questions, we can move to level 2 until we get to the end, and we can have different questions when we reach that part. Okay, so now let's move to lead the way level 2. Listening, speaking, reading, and writing. And now this is the scope and sequence for level 2 concerning the listening, speaking. Now the students grew up a little bit, so we need them to be relevant to the world around them. So we started theme 1 with communication. What time is it? It's not I'm famous, it's what time is it? So it helps the learners communicate about time, routines, and scheduling, which are vital for everyday conversations. Unit 2, it's about you can do it, to build confidence and express abilities, and how they can overcome the challenge they may face in their lives. Theme 2, it's about the outer world. Then we get Unit 3, into space. It focuses on space exploration. Scientific terminology is also covered, so it introduces students to STEM-related concepts. Then we move to Mother Earth, Unit 4, which focuses on environmental responsibility, sustainability, and fostering a connection with nature and eco-friendly practices. Healthy life, which is our third theme of the book. We promote healthy food and healthy life among our students. Unit 5 is called Healthy Food, to encourage students to make healthier food choices by understanding nutrition and the benefits of a balanced diet. Let's Get Fat is Unit 6, focuses on physical fitness and well-being, including the benefits of exercise and avoiding unhealthy habits, like consuming sugar drinks. The last 2 themes we have going out, traveling around, to teach essential travel and navigation skills, and how to ask for and give directions. I Am Lost is our 8th unit, which deals with emotions and challenges on being lost, and how to seek help in difficult situations. We end with leisure time. Unit 9, my favorite hobby, to encourage self-expression through hobbies and personal interests. Unit 10, bedtime stories, which focuses on storytelling and imagination. Now let's give you some general insights of level 2. The units cover practical communication, environmental awareness, self-confidence, healthy living, and creativity. And those promote, as we mentioned in the beginning of our session, they promote the 21st century skills, as we mentioned before. Here, let's go inside our book with Unit 3 from Listening and Speaking Level 2. The unit is called Into Space. This title, it reflects the central idea of the unit itself, and it helps the students to be familiar with the topic and what they are going to encounter throughout the units. The Let's Talk section, as you have seen before, as we said before, is designed to engage students in guided conversation related to the theme. Here, for example, we have how many planets do you know of? What are their names? So we activate any prior knowledge the students might have concerning space. Then we get to the warm-up questions. As I just mentioned, we try to activate and try to stimulate any prior knowledge and prepare students for listening activities. Some notes for the teachers: we can encourage open-ended responses to build curiosity and vocabulary around space. Do not let your students just give you short answers. Allow your students to speak freely. Give them the space and the time to express their ideas concerning the topic of the unit. We can also play a short video or show them an image or a flashcard of space to set the context before asking the questions. You may ask follow-up questions like, why do you think space is interesting? So, of course, it's up to every teacher to determine his or her way of tackling the unit itself. Then we get to the vocabulary. Here we build relevant vocabulary related to the units. Students listen to the words, they might repeat them and match them with the right pictures. Here you can use visuals, real-life images, realia to reinforce vocabulary. Or you can ask the students to act out some of the new vocabulary words, which might be fun in most of the classes. Then we have our different listening practices, just like what we had in level 1. Here, for example, those activities, in general, they are aimed at developing listening comprehension through MCQ, true and false, or open-ended questions. Here, for example, we have the first practice for listening. Listen and choose the correct answer. It focuses on factual details, maybe like size of the sun. As I told you, our script might be dialect, conversation, short sentences, short paragraph, okay? It also emphasizes listening for key information. Then we move to listening practice 2, which is listen and check. Here, students are going to listen to information and practice distinguishing between what is true and what is false to determine the accuracy of the information provided to them. Then we move to listening practice 3 and 4. As you can see, listening practice 3, we can find the students engage in a more detailed listening to answer questions and give sequence of events. Here, after each listening practice, you might encourage peer discussion. Take your time, take all the time you need while teaching listening. So you can try pair discussion, you can try group correction to reinforce understanding, you can play the track twice, you can ask for specific details on the second listening, so you might practice whatever comes in your mind to make sure that the students acquire all the skills needed in the practice or in the activity itself. Then we move to, as I mentioned before, the speaking corner. Here we encourage the students to use the new vocabulary in structured speaking exercises, and they are allowed to speak freely. We can pose questions like, what is he wearing? Why do you think he's wearing that? What can you see in front of you? What would you do if you were there in space? So we can encourage students to form sentences. In that exercise, you may use props, flashcards to encourage students to get different responses. Offer sentence starters for lower level students. If you have underachiever students, you might help them. You might just give them the beginning of the sentence and encourage them to complete the part of the sentence given to them. It will be so beneficial for them. So that was for the listening and speaking part. Here, we need to know that listening and speaking connection, students first build vocabulary and comprehension through listening exercises. And later on, they will use those vocabulary words in structured and free-form speaking tasks. So all what the students are going to learn in the beginning of the units, they are going to apply, they are going to use by the end of, okay? Okay. We also have cumulative. By the end of our units, let me admit some of our teachers, okay? So by the end of the unit, students can discuss what they learned about space, combining new vocabulary with sentence structure. This gradual build-up ensures that the vocabulary introduced during listening activities is reinforced in speaking. And this is how we integrate different skills with each other. Let's move to reading and writing level 2. And of course, just like what we have in all books, we have 5 themes, 10 units. Here we have the first theme will be about animals and habitats. Unit 1 is about jungle journey. It develops students' ability to describe routine actions while exploring the jungle habitat. It also fosters skills in summarizing, organizing information, a core 21st century skill of processing information. Unit 2 will be underwater wonders. Here we learn how to use plural forms concerning grammar, of course, correctly while practicing, as you should know that each unit, each text tackles a certain grammar rule. As you can see in front of you, we have a structure column in open sequence. So we have, we have a structure column here to mention the grammar part for each unit. Yes, this enhances the ability to communicate and make connection essential for critical thinking. Then we move to theme 2, which is about fairy tales and legends, which is so enjoyable for students at that age.
Excuse me for interruption.
It's okay, mister.
I don't think that's level 2. That's level 2, Mr. Zaki.
Yes, Mr. Ahmad, this is level 2.
Are you sure that is reading and writing at level 2?
Yes, I am sure. I'm positive. Yes.
Okay, but I have the edition, another edition that maybe another something is
This is the new edition
different?
for the book. Yes, this is the new edition for the book.
New edition, yeah.
Yes,
right.
this is the new
You
edition.
have the an old one?
This is the more updated edition. Maybe Mr. Mu'taz sent you the first edition, but this one is the second edition, and this is more updated, and it's more modern than the first one.
Okay, I'm sorry for interruption.
La, it's okay. La, whenever. Okay, it's okay. So, okay. So here we have also fairy and tales and legends. We start with the legendary tale, Jack and the Magic Beans, which we are all familiar with. So it gives the option of the opportunity to engage students with past events and encourage creativity by having them write their own fairy tale, which is an achievement for students at that age to promote creative thinking and storytelling skills, which are crucial for problem solving and innovation. Unit 4 will be also about the fairy tales and legends, which is about Little Red Riding Hood. Students practice making connection in texts, a valuable skill for critical literacy. We are going to learn to use adjectives effectively as a grammar part for the unit, which ties into logical reasoning and argumentation in writing. And I'm going to show you how we can apply this inside the classroom. Okay, when we have the third theme, which is the world around us, we can learn about the solar system, which you will find somehow integrated with listening and speaking, level 2 as well. So since this enhances the students' understanding of the relationship between events, cause and effect, because this unit focuses on the cause and effect skill, foundational skill in scientific reasoning and inquiry. Then we move to Unit 6, which is about a visit to the moon. Encourages futuristic thinking and creative expression while practicing the future tense. Writing about space fosters curiosity and problem solving. And the students also is going to summarize the given information inside the unit. The last 2 themes here, we have seasons and weather. Unit 7, the 4 seasons, which you will find also integrated with another unit in the listening and speaking book. So here we are going to learn about conjunctions, but, and so on, which strengthens students' ability to structure complex sentences. To understand cause and effect helps them evaluate change and patterns. Unit 8, Winter Wonders, it helps students express ongoing actions while sequencing prepares them to understand narrative structures and storytelling. The last theme, which is about my family and friends, Unit 9, my grandma's stories, which is so enjoyable for the students. The students can explore personal connections in their stories, encouraging empathy and emotional intelligence, which is so crucial and essential for the students, while working on precision in grammar, which helps in clarity and precising in writing. Unit 10 is about the friendship cupcake. It teaches students how to make polite requests, which is a fundamental social skill. To find supporting evidence builds research skills, which also a critical skill for the 21st century in information literacy. Now let's get into the book itself with Unit 6, which is A Visit to the Moon. And this unit, of course, it is integrated to our listening and speaking unit, which we mentioned before. Here, the theme gives a central topic that all activities are related to, which help young learners to connect new information to the title and the theme which they can find. The Let's Talk section, as usual, we can engage the students in predicting what they might find on the moon. What do you think we can find on the moon? You can ask open-ended questions like, what would you bring to the moon? If you were ever to go there, what would you take with you? We should encourage students to think creatively, even making predictions about the things they might find on the moon based on prior knowledge. Then we get to the key vocabulary. Here we introduce specific words that the students will encounter throughout the unit. Here, for example, we have rocket, we have put on, spacesuit, take off, land, hole, rocks, and alien. We also have pre-reading vocabulary exercise to reinforce the understanding of vocabulary through application. And we can do all this just before reading the text. Once the students are familiar with the new vocabulary words, now they are ready to start reading the text. Here, our text is about a short story, a boy who's named Tommy, who dreams about going to the moon. The passage develops reading comprehension skills through narrative storytelling, and the new words are highlighted throughout the text. As a teacher, while teaching narrative, you might want to stress and focus on the beginning of the story, the middle, and the end, and encourage students to summarize the story in a few words. Here, I'm going to give you a teaching tip. You can read the story aloud with dramatic intonation to capture students' interest. And you can pause whenever possible to check comprehension after each paragraph. Then we get to the post-reading vocabulary exercises. Here we can see that we have matched the words from column A to their meanings from column B, and we've also sentence creation. So it reinforces vocabulary with matching exercises and sentence creation. We can use gestures, realia, to demonstrate the words as a teacher. Have the students act out putting out a spacesuit, flying in a rocket. You can just ask them to act out the words whenever possible. Then we get to the comprehension exercises. We start, as usual, with the MCQ exercises, multiple choice question. They evaluate the students' comprehension of the text depending on different reading skills. And of course, the open-ended questions, as I mentioned before, it encourages deeper analysis and personal engagement, and also enhances critical thinking skills. You can see question number 2 here. If you could visit the moon like Tommy, what would you want to do there? So the student is going to relate to his own life and his own expectations concerning the text. Then we have our reading skill, our focused reading skill in the end, which is making a summary. Here, the student is given some new words, and he's asked to fill in the blanks to complete the summary. Why should we be teaching such an activity? To develop the critical reading skills. Asking students to summarize the passage by filling in missing words reinforces their understanding of key points. You can also, as a teacher, you can provide graphic organizers like story map to help students break down the story into chunks, into parts. Then we move to the writing corner, My Adventure on the Moon. Here we give the students some pictures to brainstorm about relevant and thought-provoking pictures to elicit their understanding of the topic of the unit. Then we move as usual to the warming up questions to activate the prior knowledge, stimulate ideas, to set a clear focus of the task in front of them. And also these questions, they try to engage students' thinking, allowing them to organize their thoughts and build confidence to express ideas. Okay, so this can work side by side with the speaking corner, actually. Then we have to unscramble the following words to reinforce sentence construction. Our objective of such an activity to practice sentence formation with the vocabulary from the story. You can use scrambled words for the students to form correct sentences. You can also encourage pair work where students can compare their sentences before sharing with the class. Then we get to writing a short paragraph or a few sentences about my adventure on the moon. Throughout the units, you will find different kinds and different types of writing, actually. Here we have write short story about your adventure on the moon. Include details about your spaceship, spacesuit, and what you see and do on the moon. Here we intend to develop creative writing skills by imagining their own trip to the moon. So how can we help students do such an activity? We can use Tommy's story as a model, guiding students to create their own narratives with similar structures. We can ask them to read the text once more to elicit some ideas out of the text and to help them get ready to write about the writing topic. We can also brainstorm ideas as a class and provide sentence starters for struggling students. That's how we can make differentiation. So we have advanced students and we have struggling students. So you can easily, once you get to know that you have some struggling students inside the class, you can give them sentence starters. You should also allow some time for students to illustrate their story afterwards. Then we have here drawing time. Draw a picture of your adventure on the moon. It allowed the students to visually express their ideas and to have fun as well. And this is the main aim of such an exercise. It also helps enhance comprehension and creativity, that we allow them to illustrate key concepts and characters, making their stories or descriptions more vivid. Drawing also provides a fun, engaging way for young learners to reflect on and connect with the writing, to boost their confidence, encourage a deeper understanding of their subject matter. That was all about level 2 as well. Here we also have, okay, Mr. Yossi wants to join us. Here we have skill integration notes as well. The students first read about Tommy's moon adventure, which serves as a model for the creative writing task. So as I said, the reading skill is integrated with the writing skill. Cumulative learning, the unit builds from comprehension to personal expression, allowing students to apply learned vocabulary and concepts in their original stories, which reinforces both reading and writing in a meaningful context. Final recommendations for our teachers. First of all, we need to encourage active participation. These are skills books. Skills books are meant to be practiced inside the classroom. So you have to encourage active participation among your students, whether it's through listening, reading, speaking. Always encourage students to actively participate. Use pair work, group activities to promote collaboration. We also use multi-sensory approaches. You can combine audio, visual, and kinesthetic learning. For example, you can use audio tracks for listening, flashcards for vocabulary, physical props for acting out scenes in the same unit. We also reinforce integration. After each activity, we should highlight how the skills connect, For instance, after reading, ask the student to speak about what they read or use vocabulary in new sentences. And finally, and most important, you have to keep it fun and engaging. So space and adventure themes naturally lend themselves to imaginative activities. Use this opportunity to make learning exciting. By integrating these skills throughout the units, you are preparing students to become proficient and confident in English, using all the 4 language skills, which is our ultimate goal as a language teachers. Now, we may have time for questions and answers. Okay. Yes.
Excuse me, sir.
Mr. Ahmed, I'm with you.
Yeah. Do you have time? Do we have any
Sure.
time?
Yes. Yes. We still have time. Yes, sure.
Okay. First of all, let me thank you. Thanks, really thanks a bunch for this fruitful session,
Most
which
welcome,
highlights
Mr. Ahmed.
some important points that we get benefit from it.
Most welcome.
But I have something to say. You talked seriously, and thanks for that, about integration.
Sure. Yes.
But I'm a teacher. It's me. I'm a teacher of teaching level 2, listening and speaking, read and writing. The
Yes.
theme of listening and speaking, the first theme, it's about communication. See,
Yes.
what time is it? And you can do it. Okay. The first theme in our reading and writing book, it's about animals and habitats.
Okay. The
The theme,
integration doesn't. Okay. The integration doesn't have to be with the theme. Sorry, in the same theme and in the same number of units. Actually, you can find as I showed you, you can find unit 3 might be integrated with unit 5. So the integration doesn't have to be in the same sequence of units.
yeah, I know that the
Yes.
outer the theme 2 in listening and speaking, it's about the outer world, and in details you give us some more details in unit 3 into space. But
Yes.
that in theme 3, the world around us, that was in
Yes.
unit 6. Okay, this makes me troubling some was I have some troubles with students, or I may, for example, while I'm teaching listening and speaking level unit 1,
Yes.
I can move to reading and writing, for example, unit 5 or unit 6.
While teaching skills books in general, we don't have to stick to the unit itself, because this is not a course book like say مثلا like Macmillan or like Global and other course books. This is skills books, so it's designed mainly to reinforce skills in the students. So if you want to shift, if you want to pick and choose some of the units, it's up to the teacher, it's up to the plan which you are going to follow. If you are going to follow with the same sequence of units, it's okay, because if the integration doesn't happen in the same unit, it might happen later on, but finally it will happen. Okay. If I'm teaching about space, for example, in unit 2, reading and writing, and I'm teaching about space in unit 4, listening and speaking, the time span between both units is not that much, so the students will be able to comprehend the reading and writing section, and later on, maybe in 2 weeks or 3 weeks, when we study unit 4, he will use the prior knowledge which he already is familiar with in unit 4 while teaching listening and speaking. So finally, the integration will happen definitely. Yes, Mr. Ahmed.
Okay. Thanks for you, sir.
Most welcome, Mr. Ahmed. So any other questions?
It's about the new editions. We have old ones. يعني,
Well, I guess,
think
Mr.
but what we have received that read anatomy, it's completely different about what you
I guess Mr. Mu'taz is with us. I guess so. Mr. Mu'taz is in the meeting with us, so we can, because I have no hand in this, actually, to be
you
honest.
can send us PDF.
Okay. I can ask Mr. Mu'taz to send you a PDF or even ebook as soon as possible. Okay, to be able to have a look at the units and prepare. Of course, you must take your time to prepare your lesson and make your lesson plans. Okay, so after we finish, I'm gonna check with Mr. Mu'taz if we can send a PDF or electronic book at least, so that you can be familiar with the content, because we have had some highlights on only 2 of the units, but we still have the whole book. You should be familiar with the whole book. And I hope you will be satisfied, inshallah, while teaching the book, because it concentrates mainly on how to acquire the skill, how to practice different skills.
Okay,
so most welcome, Mr. Ahmad. So if we have any questions,